It is the world famous KROQ. I'm Megan Holiday, and I'm here with my favorite band, as you can see, Deftones. It's so great to see you guys.
Hell yeah.
Hi, hello.
Hi, and congratulations on the brand new album, Private Music. I drove through Mulholland Drive listening to the new album, and I certainly feel like Deftones are a band where, the best place to listen to you guys is in the car. Would you agree?
We're made for traffic.
I don't think you're made for traffic. I think you're made for late night drives where you have a beautiful view of the city.
Getting out of Dodge, just going.
Yes, getting the hell out of here and away from my life, So I do have to tell you this story because I was telling our friend Rob Goldklang about how when I was in high school, I was 16 years old, White Pony came out, and I was in a car with all my friends. We were, getting high, and I was all the way in the back, like laying down, and somebody put on White Pony. And I just rose up from the dead, and I'm like, who is this? Because I had never been exposed to you guys. And so they were like, oh, it's Deftones, White Pony. And from that day forward, you guys became my favorite band. And, I've been noticing over the last, handful of years at Coachella, at the Golden Gate Park show, I was looking around and I'm I'm feeling older because I'm seeing all these 15, 16, 17-year-old kids now into your music. So when did you guys first start to notice that, and what did it feel like?
Definitely a lot more over the last few years for sure. But I mean, I feel like it's a lot of that same experience that you had. People, even though some of these are records and these songs that they're gravitating towards have been around for a long time. They're having that kind of first moment of like, who is this? What is this? Obviously, a lot of people have heard of us. We've been around for a while, but it's cool to see that our music has sort of been able to transcend these different generations. And to us the music it harkens back to those periods of our life when we wrote them. But when people hear you for the first time now, it's like they create that experience, that life experience at their age, whatever it is. Now, so it's rare that it's like I said, it's transcended. It's been able to do that.
Yeah, it's just really cool, especially, for us longtime fans and, watching you sell out your entire tour. I was at both nights of the Forum. And, do you guys still feel like do you feel like with working on this album, you felt maybe a resurgence or an excitement around the band?
I think so. I mean, it definitely took our time. I mean, it's been 5 years since our last output. So there was some, life to live and growing and, and a lot of good things to happen during that time since we put our last record. The last record came out, I think, towards the beginning, maybe even middle of kind of the pandemic sort of thing. So it was obviously a weird time. Yeah, I mean, we definitely got to experience, some good living and it was fun, man, just to get back together and start working on music together. And it's nice. It definitely, I think I might have been you that I was doing the interview with. And you get asked that question of like, what does the new record sound like? And I think I used the word invigorating. It was like, and the press ran with that. Like they're making a record that's invigorating. Honestly, I mean, I feel that within the songs themselves and with our relationship and just spending time together.
I agree. I think we had a lot of fun making this record, even though it was so spaced out at times. That allowed us to just enjoy the process. You know what I mean, and not get too worried about anything looming over us. I guess not that there always is, but there was a lot of fun to be had, and that's the best way to make a record.
And anytime we were able to step away, we were able to step away and really work on. We've been trying to figure out balance for decades, and having work-life balance and, knowing that we needed to complete this record and make a record, but being afforded the time to be able to do it, and step away and do it at a pace that was very comfortable for everyone. Maybe slow at times too, if you ask certain people. But yeah, man. But being able to step away is a beautiful thing. Get back to it and jump in.
I think it really comes through the album that you guys were having fun. I can definitely say that this is one of my favorite Deftones albums, and I think you can also feel that, you know, you guys had this togetherness and this really great chemistry. And so I think the first song you wrote was Infinite Source.
Yep.
You guys were on Steph's bus kind of, you know, messing around. And so can you just talk a little bit about how that song came together so quickly?
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the first times that we actually got together in person. And it actually wasn't all of us. It was just Abe and I and Steph. And it was between shows. We had festivals, I think.
Florida and Ohio.
Yeah, on Saturday. We had a week off. And we went into Nashville on the way to, where were we going to?
Ohio, yeah.
From Florida. And we stopped in a studio in Nashville. And yeah, we just kind of started it was the first time of us playing, like, you know, just with our instruments, just playing together. We had this idea at first that we, you know, put these folders together and everybody just sort of sent in ideas remotely. But we soon realized that it's like, you know, when we're going to really kind of dig into it is when we're actually in the same room together. So that was one of the first things that Stephanie came up with, that sort of repetitive kind of harmonic riff that kind of goes through, starts the song and kind of goes throughout the song. And everything just like, that was building blocks. It was just like, you know, adding piece to piece. And it just felt really strong. Like, I feel like that song is a very good, you know, kind of a picture of like the weight of the album and also the lightheartedness of the album in a way too. It's like, it's kind of a fun song, you know, but it could be, lyrically, it could sound kind of like a sad song because it's sort of like a send off in a way, or just like, but also reminiscing on all the years that we've been doing this. And I don't know, it just kind of like, I think envelops a lot of like what we do, that sort of yin and yang, you know, happy and sad and loud and quiet. And, you know, so it was just a really fun kind of a way to start out the writing process.
Yeah, absolutely. It sort of maybe sets the tone for what the attitude or the feeling that, you know, is going to be involved in the album. And with you guys, you know, kind of being on the road, and I understand that you recorded in some different places. You went out to the desert to do some of it. You recorded at Shangri-La. So do you feel like having the different environments also helped with the songwriting?
I think so. I think we're definitely, you know, the music becomes sort of a product of this environment as well, like where there's a few songs definitely that were inspired by being near the ocean in Malibu there at Shangri-La. You know, being in the desert was something that we had never done, really been out there working. So that was like a whole new, experience.
Really cool.
And we had a lot of fun out there. I mean, just like hanging out at night in the desert under the stars. It's like, you know, I hear specific moments. The song Souvenir was written out there. That was one of the first songs you wrote too. And I feel like this, like the lush, just like the chords in the song. I mean, it's just like, I take him right back to that, you know, that scenery.
The desert is so alive too. You know, people think it's just, you know, it's so alive with just energy and billions of stars. You know, you're looking, and it's dusty too as well, you know, but it was very fruitful, those sessions. Those were writing sessions too. So like the desert, Joshua Tree was one, and then Malibu, those were 2 writing sessions for the majority of the record. But, you know, only like a week or so at a time, maybe even less, with some months in between, we're chilling out and, you know, and then.
But being at those places had no distractions. Fully, so you have to be fully present just to kind of do, you know, come up with stuff and hang and talk shit. So.
Yeah, so you could just really be locked in. And, you know, you had kind of talked about how when you recorded White Pony, you were in a studio all together and you didn't have any ideas really yet. You were kind of going in with no songs ready. Did this feel similar to that?
That was different. I mean, we were definitely distracted a lot on that record. Tony Hawk Pro Skater really distracted us. The first one came out during the recording of that. I know how old we are. But
3 and 4 just came out, so you missed it, which is lucky.
Brett and I were just talking about that.
Yeah, you can skate and happy skate to that part.
Soundscape.
Yes, but yeah, I mean, this was a little bit different. That was kind of like, aimless, a lot of aimless exploration. I think making that record, which turned out very positive, I think, for that reason. Where this one, I think there was a lot more focus, kind of, in the songwriting, especially, you know what I mean, and which I think really helped sort of streamline the process too in doing this. I mean, we definitely experimented a little bit, but a lot actually. But I think we just kind of, just there's a lot more focus, with this. I don't know if that comes with age or, just whatever, but like, just I think wanting to as well, like wanting to make a really focused record, like where we, kind of are firing, on all our best points of what we do.
Mm-hmm. And with, Steph working on his health, and Chino, I want to congratulate you on 3 years sober. I'm coming up on 10 years. And I know that when I came back into doing radio and being at KROQ, which is where I always wanted to be, I was kind of nervous, and I felt like, am I going to still be able to do this? Because I was always so used to hiding behind, drugs and stuff. Did you ever feel at any point like, it's hard to write or perform, or it's scary too when you're sort of...
The thing is, I told myself that for so many years, what I mean? I believed that was true, right? Until I actually did it, I mean, honestly, even like playing the first show without like having a drink, which is so weird. It's like, we started the band in the, late 80s, early 90s, and we were, that's what we did. We drank beers, we played music and whatever, and went on tour, and it just like, it became just like normal, whatever. So I can't ever really look back and think there was a time when like we even played shows where like, I didn't have at least a beer or something. Mm-hmm. So when we played our first show, I think it was our festival we do down in San Diego, the Los Deftones. Mm-hmm. And like, just like thinking about going on stage and like, without having a drink, whatever. But the minute I got off stage, I was like, yes, I just felt so good. And then I just kind of ran with that feeling, like, so that definitely built confidence and like knowing that I can do that. But then once I started being creative, and then you realize like, wow, you don't need this to be creative. If anything, I'm more like in tune, you know what I mean? And the same thing, like I said, running away or feeling like you need to like hide from those like our emotions, whatever they may be. Yeah, I mean, it made it a lot more enjoyable. Then in retrospect now, it's just like, wow, like, why didn't I do this 10 years ago?
Yep.
Like you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it really shows. And I feel like I was at, Dia de los Deftones, and it was absolutely incredible. I mean, I've honestly I feel like I've never seen a bad Deftones show, but
don't even trip. You just didn't go to them. Yeah.
But it's just clear that you have a lot of energy, and it's it's just absolutely incredible. And Dia de los Deftones, just really quick before we talk about some more songs from Private Music, you guys really curate that festival. And I remember seeing Doja Cat there, and, she just headlined Outside Lands that I was just at over the weekend. So do you guys kind of handpick these bands that are going to be playing?
Yeah. I mean, we usually put together like a big master list, and it could be like, insane. Like we'll just reach for the stars, right?
It's this list. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, but like, yeah, there's also been a lot of underground kind of artists that we picked, and then, that went on like Doja, and, even Megan at the time wasn't really that big when we had her on there. We had Doechii a couple of years ago. So it's been great, like to just kind of just like throw all these things in a hat, and it seemed to work out, you know what I mean? And, it's fun too. It's like putting together a playlist, but like as a live show, right? And we've been lucky enough to have some great artists join us for it.
Yeah, I don't think I even realized you guys had Doechii, and I just saw her at Outside Lands for the first time, and it was mind blowing, So you guys really have your finger on the pulse of great up and coming music, and I just think it's really cool you can provide this platform for these artists.
Awesome. Yeah.
So one of I would say so far, my favorite song is Ectosis.
Okay.
Did I say it right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I put like 10 stars next to this song. I think, Abe, you had said that it means shedding skin. And does that at all incorporate with your guys' album artwork of the white snake?
Yeah, I mean, the title came after the artwork had all been done. The titles are usually the last thing that, I drive everybody crazy about changing them usually a million times and then like settling on it in the very last minute. But it definitely did kind of, I think it paired along well with the album cover as well as still being a metaphor, like, you know what I mean, in general, for what the song actually kind of depicts, or, some of the lyrics depicting the song. But again, I think that's one of my favorite songs on the record, and it was the very last song we wrote as well for the record.
Yeah.
And how did when you guys were working on it, what sort of came first? Was it a riff? Was it vocals?
Yeah, so the little riff, and we actually wrote that one in the studio at in Nashville when I was there recording vocals, and we set up a little drum set in the living room, like a little TV room downstairs. We literally us in a circle, and we started jamming and and then had like an initial thing, and then kind of started piecing it together, from the synth kind of thing that Frank does at the beginning of the song. I mean, that kind of got added actually after the kind of the bulk of the song, but it's crazy that starts the song, you know what I mean? And then we just started building on it. I mean, it was really one that was put together in the studio, and we didn't do much of that on this record. It's really fun to work that way, although you can set yourself up for to be disastrous when you write a song in the studio like that, and then you have to learn how to play it live, like whatever. It's like, but it was fun, I think, to have a song or two on the record that were kind of built in different ways, put together in different ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's it's really cool that was the last song that you made, and I feel like it's such a huge piece to the album.
I think that song probably harkens back to like older Deftones in a way too, more than a lot of the other stuff as well.
Mm-hmm, for sure. And I have come to learn that I'm an old head from, Gen Z. So it would not be a true Deftones album without a beautiful ballad on it. I think about you all the time is, oh my God, it's so good. I mean, it's like the Cherry Wave sex tape teenager, that vibe to it. Do you want to talk about that song a little bit?
Sure. What you want to know?
I want to know everything.
Yeah, makeout music.
Modern day makeout. Lookout Point.
Yeah, exactly. Mulholland, where I was.
Yeah, I mean, that song was literally inspired by the ocean. Like, we were kind of asking about earlier about being, the music being inspired by where we were, and we were at Shangri-La, and every morning I'd get up and go jump in the water before we started working. And I'd gone extra early that day, came back and just sitting there in my swim trunks with the guitar, and like kind of came up with the beginning, the middle, and all the way through the end. Kind of just, and our engineer there recorded it. And then I kind of just set it aside, and we worked on other stuff that day. And then later, like at the end of the night, it was probably like, I don't know, 11.
It was after dinner.
It was after dinner. Everybody left, and I made a cup of coffee, and like we're like, let's dig into this, put it up, and let's dig into it a little bit more. And that song really came together really fast. I mean, and those songs are usually some of our best songs. I think, like Change, for instance, and House of Flies. That song was probably one of the fastest songs we ever wrote, and that's probably one of our most known, long-lasting songs. Out to this day. So there's something to be said about a song that just kind of like, organically just falls, together.
Mm-hmm. And the final song on the album, I believe, Departing the Body, that one tripped me out when I first started listening, because your vocal range, it's like you're in this like lower register, and I don't think I've ever heard your voice like that, Yeah. Was that sort of inspired, by like the 80s music that you love?
No, it was actually 70s music. It was it's like kind of a Roger Waters from Pink Floyd sort of kind of talk singing kind of thing that he does, like a lot of the like the 80s Pink Floyd records, whatever, and mostly 70s, 80s kind of thing. But it wasn't on purpose, actually. I was recording the demo for it in my hotel room and I was trying to be quiet because I was just like coming up with some ideas in there, but I didn't want to like be singing loud in my hotel room. This is when we were staying at that one weird ass hotel in Nashville, yeah. And then I took it in the next day to playing it for our producer Nick, and he was like, "Let's record it like that." And I was like, "Cool." So yeah, I mean, it was something a little bit of a different approach, but yeah, it wasn't intentional, honestly.
Yeah, there are just so many. I heard you guys in the Zayn interview. You were talking about, because so many people say, how do you describe Deftones? Like what are they? And it was always so annoying when it was like, oh, it's new metal, and I'm like, no, it's not. Like it's so not that. And you guys talked about it being like a soundscape and sounds. And I just feel like this album and what you guys do is such a huge, it's just a feeling, whether I understand what the lyrics mean, it's just a feeling that you get. And I know for me, I just feel very understood by the music that you make. And my last question is, when you hear things like, oh, Deftones are bigger than you've ever been, or, this album will probably go number one, or how many streams you have, or Grammys or whatever, how does that make you feel?
It feels good, but I don't think it's something that I don't know, I think I kind of always have the mindset that like it could go away at any moment as well, right? So like I don't ever invest too much of like how I feel about us as a band or our music or our records into like that kind of stuff. Obviously it's exciting and it's nice to know, right? And it is. I mean, we literally are bigger than we've ever been in over our almost 30-year existence, right? So it is exciting, and we are very grateful. You know what I mean? But I don't think like yeah, I think we just like are in the moment, right? And enjoying it.
Gotta roll with it, man.
Roll with it, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm
like want to live up to it as well. I think like in our live shows in this record that we made, I feel like it also makes us want to be better as best we can be too, right? It kind of like pushes you a little bit to be like, all right, well, everybody says this about us. Well, let's try to be that, more than ever, right?
Let's be good. Let's be good.
Let's try.
Yeah, it's been incredible just as a fan to watch all of this happen, because you guys are so incredible and you deserve it. You've been working so hard for so many years. So congratulations on everything, all this good stuff that's happening to you, and on this incredible new album, Private Music. And for me, if you had told me when I was 16 years old that I would be interviewing Deftones, I would have said you're crazy. So this moment really means a lot to me. And and I love you guys, and I'll see you at Dia de los Deftones.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much.